What's up, and welcome to the Los Wise Guys podcast. I'm your host, Eslam, aka Raw God of Sun, accompanied by Dan Papa Sun Killer, Dan Emperor Disco, Rudy, and Walter. What's up, guys? I forgot your fucking nickname. It's been too long.
Yo, but
every time.
What made it worse was like the hype was like so good.
Rudy.
Emperor Rudy.
And then I was like, Rudy, is it? I was like,
because we're fucking minorities. We get
what?
to the end of the list.
Those other guys.
And it's like, hey, Rudy and Walter.
It's off the
Oh
fucking
man, that is amazing.
I forgot.
Me,
bro,
Disco, and the rest.
And guests.
and these other guys from the league.
That is hilarious.
so happy to be here.
Just know that you are loved.
Yeah, right.
All right, so welcome to the Los Wise Guys podcast. We are joined by our LWGF VGL members. Obviously, you know the LWG members. That's myself, Dan, and Dan. And then we have our other two members of the league, which is Rudy and Walter. Today, we're going to delve in a little bit about give you an update about the LWGF VGL standings for this year. We got some new rules to discuss for our next year's league.
Happy birthday, Henry.
Oh, he's in the chat already. Happy
Yeah,
birthday,
yeah.
Henry.
Yep.
He was in there
Happy
quick.
birthday, Henry.
Henry,
Happy birthday,
if you still want to join us, let me know. I'll send you a link. If you still want to
Absolutely.
join the league next year, let me know. Or you can chill.
That's his response. That's his response.
And then you can always join the league and then just chill here and check out the new rules for the league and let us know. But before we get into the league business, we wanted to discuss real quick about the recent announcement of the PlayStation 5 Pro, the pricing of it, and yeah. So, what do you guys think about the mid-gen console? The PlayStation
Oh, it's
5?
terrible. PlayStation sucks. I'm still rushing Game Pass, dude.
Come on, man. Don't steal Rudy's thunder.
Oh man,
I'll take point. That's fine. No, the funny thing was is
Concord.
the funny thing was is like at first I mean like even the price point does seem kind of weird depending on the market you're trying to look for, right? I think the problem is that most people are looking at it and getting upset, and I think Sony themselves are looking like they're trying to compete more of a PC aspect related to graphics than they are with other consoles, right? I think the problem though is that that price point just, I mean, if you're comparing, because everyone's going to compare it to the PS4 Pro, right? Regardless of graphics, it's a mid-year iteration. We're almost at the end of the life cycle in relation to PlayStation 5, maybe another 3, 4, 5 years at the most. So we're like midway through. So it's hard to justify that price point when you don't even drop the initial price point of the original one, and then you're increasing the prices on the controllers and things like that. For me, it just doesn't make sense. I think I don't know if you guys knew it, but the reason I had jumped on a PS4 Pro at the time was because my PS4 was actually ejecting discs. Like there was an error with the original PS4s where they were just kicking out discs at the most random time. So I said, "Fuck it, let me get."
And
the
they
Pro.
sounded like they were about to take off at any moment.
Yes. So it was like at that point I was like, whatever. And you know, to me there hasn't been really any slowdown related to my PS5. I've enjoyed everything that's come out with it. I think the graphics are perfectly fine for me. Like I don't have a problem with just switching a fucking toggle to just say performance or fidelity. Like that actually doesn't bother me in the slightest. So for people who were like, oh no, I need it to just be 100% great or whatever it is, that, you know, just get a PC. Like it really just depends on what it is you're trying to play at that point. I think the price point is kind of crazy though, but I think this wouldn't have happened had Concord not failed and had COVID not, because in reality they lost a lot of sales as a result of COVID, right? The console came out in 2020, but even components were delayed as a result of COVID. So I think the components factor, Concord, like all of these things, I think ultimately played. And then on top of everything else, Sony's just ahead of Xbox. When you don't have competition, you could just do whatever you want to do and just put price points out there and
I
play
was
with
going to
it.
bring up that point. Yeah.
No, that's the thing. There's no competition. So on top, if the PS5 Pro sells very, very well, it almost justifies them increasing the price of the 6 when it comes out. And I think that's the inevitability. I think depending on what they're going to do with it, I think that's exactly what. Oh, that was the other thing. PSVR failed. So it's like they're pumping money into Concord, VR, the components are missing. All of these things end up adding up. And I think that's why they're just like, fuck it. at the end of the day. But I mean, people are out here like, oh, well, you spend $1,000 on a cell phone, this, that, and a third, and all these other components and whatnot. But it's like, yeah, but I can use my cell phone every single day. Like I can take my cell phone wherever I want. And if I'm going to use a PC, it does more than just play video games. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that go along with it. I do think it's for a niche market. I do think it's not for the average consumer. I think anyone that has a PS5 now, except for Walter, is probably just going to stick with it. But then again, I say that, and then GTA 6 comes out, and then if there's a significant difference when GTA 6 comes out, even myself, that'll be something I look at. But then again, because GTA 6 isn't going to be on PC day one either. I think GTA 6 is going to be on PlayStation and Xbox day one, and it's going to come to PC later. Had it come to PC day and date, I think a good majority of people that have PCs and consoles probably would have just got it on PC for the highest level of fidelity they can get on it. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I'll jump in really fast. Rudy, I feel like the one thing he said, my computer's going in and out. Can you guys still see me? It's weird.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just literally black screen, so I'll just talk through it. But yeah, so also that reminds me, PCs, right? Console gaming is always going to be better. But no, seriously, it's a niche product. That's why when we were talking about it, it's like, I don't really have much to say about a PS5 Pro because it's a niche product. The people who want it, they're going to get it. The people who don't want it, they're not going to get it. Personally, I don't feel like I need a PS5 Pro. I'm perfectly fine. I don't want to spend the extra money. Some people, they're willing to do it. They feel like they need it. Those people tend to be more graphically, like that's more of like an important thing to them, stuff like that. Me, not so much. So it's like, that's why I feel like a lot of people I saw were complaining about the $700 price point. I couldn't care less because it's not for me. I did get a PS4 Pro, and because of stupid reasons, I got it because I wanted the Spider-Man PS4 Pro. That's the only reason I got it last time.
I think a lot of
they don't have a special edition PS5 Pro that I want. I don't need it. So it's just like, it is what it is.
Make one, especially if you can just buy your own like aftermarket faceplates and change them out.
I would never do that.
I'm just saying,
I'm just saying, me personally,
that wasn't a feature. That wasn't a feature for the PlayStation 4 or any of the other iterations of PlayStation that you can change the faceplates yourself. So
yeah, but that's my thing. The faceplate thing is just ever since they were just. I remember day one where like PS5. I think you can take off the faceplates. Maybe you can. Maybe you can't. I was always in the camp of I don't care. So it's like it's like if it's a special edition, I want it to be the full console, not like oh here's a faceplate.
Yeah, but I think I think one of the things we haven't seen one is because you can change the faceplates, and it's like it's not going to really sell if they do a special edition where it's like the only thing that's different is the faceplates. But like, okay, I can just get my own faceplates, or I can, if you're an artist, like you can get blank faceplates and create art on them and sell them, and there's a lot of things that could be done with this.
But that's what I'm saying. So, it's like the PS5. It's just like that's my reasoning for doing it. Now, where I disagree from where Rudy was talking about, it's just like he's talking about like the Concord and this and the other. While that may or may not be the issue, I don't think that is why the price point for PS5 Pro is there. PS5 Pro is there because it's a niche product. They know it's a niche product. The people who want it are going to get it, regardless of where they lost money, where they made money, whether or not Concord did good or bad. Changed nothing. It's just the PS5 Pro costs this much because people who want it are willing to pay that much. If somebody wants a really good PC, they're going to spend more than $700, a lot more. So they look at this like, oh, so you're telling me I could get God of War at an earlier date and I don't have to wait for it being on PC? Perfect. I could just get this console because it's going to be a little bit better than the PS5, and I'm willing to do that. That's who it makes sense to, the niche product. The actual like regular like me, I don't need it. I already got this game. I don't need to wait for Bloodborne to come out at 60 frames per second or something along those lines, because if I want to, I could just go ahead and play it at 30 frames. Like that stuff doesn't necessarily matter. That's where I sit on, at least with the PS5 Pro.
No, I get that. I think, but sorry, Walter, I just want to jump one thing on that, is that I think the faceplates makes a good point on that, Eslam and Dan. I think honestly, if I'm Sony, I'm paying attention to how our sales are related to that, because you could buy faceplates directly off of PS Direct that were like the Spider-Man one was one that we're selling by itself. So I think they're probably comparing. They're going to have to compare the numbers to see that it makes sense to do faceplates, or did we make more money selling actual consoles? And that's what I'm more curious about, because Dan's not the only one that was in that boat. There was a lot of people out there who saw that Spider-Man one and said, fuck it, I want that one. And even if I have one, I want that one. I'll sell mine, whatever it is. So
also, I'm sure people bought it to like have it as like a special collector's item.
Oh, yeah.
And then like keep it in the box pristine, like, never take it out. There's people that love doing that. Walter, you wanted to say something, and then I'll jump in after you.
So I'm coming from the perspective of what Dan was saying, where it's kind of like if I want to build a really nice PC, a high-end PC, I've spent way more on my rig than $700. So for me, buying a PlayStation 5 in 2001, to me, that $400 for the digital is already gone. So if a company's going to offer me almost $350, $400 for a trade-in, or one of my coworkers or friends, I'm gonna take it and justify it as, oh, this is a $300 upgrade, right? So it's not that big of a deal. But I also, not to boast anything, but I have a lot of high tech things in my home. I don't like the feeling of being bottlenecked and having to choose, especially if I'm spending, $3,500 on a TV, $2,000 on a monitor. If I'm already running that on my PC, I feel like I expect to run it if I can on my system. And also it makes it easy to justify these purchases to my wife. Because when she walks past and looks at it, she's like, oh, that's beautiful. And I'm like, okay, cool. And she doesn't bust my chops as much about it. But just coming from the standpoint of it being like a niche product, I do agree. Like $700 is a tough pill to swallow, especially in today's time. So I'm just justifying it as a $300 upgrade and something that'll, help my rig and such and my TV perform at its best. That's all.
No, I get it. I think it would make more sense to me if GTA 6 was like next month or the month after that. I think I could argue that you could just hold on to your console for like at least a year. The PS5 Pro is still going to be selling. You probably find it at a good discount by the time GTA 6 comes around and save yourself some money, depending on how you play your console, though, right? Like,
or you could just buy the PS5 Pro GTA Special Plate Edition.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's probably that.
So coming in from the perspective of someone that hasn't been part of this, I guess, community for a long time, like I'm very new to like the ecosystem and how these consoles are released and how everything works and how games are released. Like I'm not really very educated in that sense, right?
Yeah, it
like
shows in the league.
Fucking noob.
So when I saw I have a PlayStation 4, not a 4 Pro, a PlayStation 4. And I got like I think I have, Dan, you gave me your PlayStation 4 when you bought that Spider-Man PS4 Pro. So I have that PlayStation.
That was another reason why I could justify. I was like, oh, Eslam is going to get a PlayStation. I could justify it. Let me go ahead and buy this PS4 Pro. I'm helping somebody out.
Like I can finally get Eslam into gaming. So for me, yeah, the price seemed a little high, but as someone who's upgraded from a PlayStation 4 to the 5 Pro, I can justify paying that much. The other thing I saw online was that something that Walter has brought up is that for people that have the PlayStation 5, I think Sony's also expecting a lot of people to trade in their PlayStation 5 to get that discount. Kind of like how, when you upgrade your phone every year, you trade in your phone, you get $400 off the new phone. And then, instead of it being a $1,000 to $1,200 phone, you're paying $600, So you're getting essentially half off the console. So like Walter said, it's a $300 upgrade. The other thing is, I was thinking is that Rudy brought up this point too, which was I think it's really well. I think Sony's pulling an Apple. Like they're the big dogs on the market. Xbox is like, we lost this console war. We don't know if we're making more consoles. We're just gonna do these dongles, and you can just fucking get the app and play through the cloud on your TV. You can play it on your PC. Just get the controller. All these things that Xbox is slowly shifting away from the console because they can't keep up with Sony. So now, like you said, Sony doesn't really have major competition, so they're going to raise up their price, because what else are you going to do? If you want these Sony exclusive games, you need the console. So we're going to jack up the price a little bit, and again, try to recoup some of the money we lost through COVID and all this shit. So I think it's a bunch of little factors that really push the price up that much. I didn't expect it to be that much. I expected it to be like maybe $550, $600. I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I don't know if anybody was thinking in that same range.
No, I thought six. I thought 650 would have been 650 with the disc drive at that point. I think that would have been a little bit more.
And then the other thing is it's all digital, no disc drive. And then it's like, are they slowly going away from disk drives? Period. Is like the PS6 going to be digital only?
Guarantee the PS6
is there expandable memory, or is it just all hard drive?
So the
not
PS5
has expandable memory.
Yeah, usually, I mean, it's going to come with 2 terabytes, but there's a slot for SSDs at that point, or an SSD. So it's going to have that. I do think Dan makes a good point. I do think the next console will be all digital. There's always arguments to be made for them not going that way. At least I will take this. I'll take that back. I would argue that the next console is going to be the same type of iteration, because I think they're seeing the sales that they're getting from this separate disk drive, and I think it will be a digital console, all digital, and they will, and they're going to just charge you for the disk drive. I think that's exactly what's going to happen next generation.
That's 100% what's happening.
That's an Apple move, because Apple did that with like the headphones, the charging brick, like everything that used to come with the phone. Like they're like, we're selling all this separately now, and you're gonna pay even more for the phone and not get any of this shit, and people still buy it. It is what it is, you know. All right, but enough about the PS5 Pro. Let's jump into the LWG FVGL Season 4.
Can anybody else say that yet?
What's the F stand for?
Fantasy video game.
Oh, fantasy. Okay, I'm like video. I'm over here. I'm like LWG.
The website is called.
Hey, what else would it be, bro?
I'm like, is it like friendly video game? Like, is it fucking video?
Friendly video game league.
Okay, first of all, we are not friendly.
I was like, I'm looking at that F. I'm like, what the fuck's that F? I'm like, so for a minute while y'all are talking, I was like, I got
legit.
The VGL.
You didn't know what the F in our fantasy league was for.
I was first, friends together.
Sometimes when I look at it, it looks like Roman numerals or something, man.
That's the whole point.
Like, who is 1,216,000?
That's funny. But yes, so let's jump into the current standings of the LWG FVG.
You're gonna share, right? Yeah, you got it. Cool.
Yep. Actually, what happens if I do this? All right, that works too. But then
go to your bids. I want to see what you're bidding on.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
He doesn't have any money.
He's not wrong.
You got $5. You got $5.
Yeah. All right. So as of right now, Rudy's at number 1 with 137 points. Myself, I am at number 2 with 100 points, 101, because it rounds up to the nearest point after 50. Walter's at 81. Dan's at 80, and then Disco's at 36. And then the projected points, as you see, are right here. Rudy's projected to come in second with the game still not released, and whatever placeholder points he gets for any empty slots. He's coming in at second at 158. Myself, who I have all of my slots filled, and 5 fucking counter picks, coming in at 163, projected to be number 1. Walter's projected to come in 4th at 128. Dan is projected to come in 3rd at 131, and then Disco's projected to come in last at 85 points. So the upcoming releases for video games are the Plucky Squire for Walter, Frostpunk 2 for Walter, Ara History Untold for Walter, Bloomtown A Different Story for Walter, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom for myself, EA Sports FC 25 for Disco, Until Dawn remake for Dan, Silent Hill 2 remake for myself, and Rudy counterpicked that, so he fucked up. Metaphor Refantasio for Disco, and Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero for Dan, bringing us into the middle of October.
Yeah, when you look at that shit,
Sparking has an exclamation point. You're supposed to say Sparking with more enthusiasm.
Sparking Zero.
Thank you. It looks like Dragon Ball as a kid.
It's pretty funny when you look at that. When you look at that lineup, there's a good amount of shit coming out in the next 2 months. Not even just from the leak stand. I'm just talking about shit that you would just actually see. Yeah, just gaming. Yeah. I have a question before we move on for the audience and myself. the projections, does that include potential points for the counter picks?
You want to show them what that looks like, Eslam, the projections,
So,
just so you can see it.
Yeah. So show projections. So you see how Dan has all his games. This is the projected points for each game.
Mhm.
Now, if you have an empty slot, you get an automatic 6 points.
Yep.
You don't
In your
actually
projections.
receive the points, but it's projected to just as a minimum for 6 points.
That's
So
why
that's where
Eslam
you're-
pointing out that he has all his slots filled and he's still projected at that score is looking really good for him. Granted, those games ain't all coming out. That's for
No,
sure.
but
But
I got
projected.
5 of my 7 games are confirmed to come out. One of them I know is definitely not coming out. The other one is most likely not coming out this year. So, yeah. So,
But the projections, does it factor
see all
into
these
the
locks,
counter
you
pick?
sons of bitches?
Your projection points are factored into your overall projection score. That's
Yeah.
the only place.
And then
got
once you actually get a score, that projection gets replaced by the
Gotcha.
The actual
Yeah.
score.
So
I have
my
a
Silent Hill
question.
2 remake is projected to get 8 points. You're probably gonna lose more than that, Rudy. So
What's up, Disco? You have a question?
About the super drop.
yes.
Use it, bro. I know you got it. Just use it.
Probably
It
do that.
It said I could drop any game, so I just used it.
What did you drop? Did you drop the animal?
tell
Well?
us what you dropped.
I dropped Animal Well because it said
Okay.
any game.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
let
I think
you.
you can do that. Yeah,
It let me, yeah. it
Good,
just
good.
went through
I wanted to make sure that it would let you because Lord knows.
yeah.
I had to drop
Yeah.
it. Wow.
it.
19.
So yeah,
points.
I wasn't sure if the counter pick, if you could drop the counter pick. So when I dropped it, I
Yes.
was like, I guess they'll let me know.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Eslam,
That's
if you want
pretty
to do a quick refresh because the super drop's supposed to be automatic, you shouldn't have to
Yes.
wait till Saturday, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it went,
he's at
it says it
55
goes through
now.
right.
Okay. Yep. It bumped you up.
No, nice.
But
Good.
does it drop Eslam because he
No,
because he's
I
supposed to
still get my
on that?
points. The counter pick
Eslam
is
gets his
that-
points. It's just you don't
Yeah.
have him counterpicked.
Oh,
against you.
okay.
So
Alright.
the only thing we would what would happen, let's say you counter picked Animal Well and Animal Well got a 65, right? And then
Yeah.
that means you gain 5 points and I lose 5 points.
I
Right.
thought because I was just questioning because if I dropped it, but I guess
No,
it's,
so I'm
like you said,
explaining-
it's permanent.
Yeah,
Like
so
it stays with the points, stay with you. Got you.
so it stays with you if you got like the positive points. So I think like let's say
Gotcha.
you counterpicked Animal Well, and I got negative points for that, and I use my super drops to drop Animal Well. You've already counterpicked it. You still get your 5 points, but then I gained that 5 points back since I dropped it. Like you gained. your
It
19
only matters to the person
Yeah.
who's using the drop.
No, I
But,
understand. I'm just
Disco,
using a
I
scenario.
know, I
to
know,
explain
but
the
Disco,
point.
one thing I do want to mention, you now have no counter picks.
Oh, so you got to.
So now I have to pick two because
Yeah.
You have to
there's
pick two
names.
counter picks.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean that's better than having negative 19.
Well, make sure you get
Well,
some
you're
good
gonna be
counter
fucked
picks.
later because you gotta.
Damn.
A lot of these games are
Oh,
coming
wow.
out, bro.
Exactly.
You might lose
gotta
more
be
than
real smart
19.
about this.
I'll find
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I don't know. Pick. I guess you have 2 more of my games to pick because I guess 5 counter picks isn't enough. Fucking assholes, bro.
I tell you what, everybody, let's all take a look at Eslam's games and let's see what we can counter pick for Disco here. All right?
Yeah,
let's see. So,
well, the 2 games that are most likely not coming out, which is Hollow Knight Silksong, that's never coming out. Metal Gear Solid, Delta, Snake Eater. I still have hope, but I really doubt it's coming out this year, especially after
there's still a possibility.
The stuff they said recently. They're like, we're still fixing stuff. Like they're like the whole
Oh, I
game
know.
is playable from beginning to end, but
I know.
it's still like
I'm in that
So-
studio, Eslam. I've been in
Yeah.
that studio. I know.
Dan got spies in there, but yeah. So I'm pretty sure this is gonna get pushed to early 2025, if anything. So,
Should be.
yeah.
Since I do want to mention something real quick, I did see the other day. I'm be honest, I haven't really been looking at the league for a while. Mostly because my games are in. I don't really have to move too much around. I can kind of just figure out what happens, so I don't have to pay too much attention. But I did see something I did want to bring up to you guys and get your opinion on the matter, and it does affect Disco. Disco has Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Yeah.
Should not be allowed in our league.
Yeah, I saw
come?
that.
But the system allowed it. So it's one of those things where Call of Duty is an annual release. Granted, this is Black Ops 6, which is technically a different game from last year. They didn't have Black Ops 5, but there was a Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So that's why I understand why the league allowed it. So it's one of those things where it's just like, should I drop it? Should I make Disco get rid of it? Should I let him keep it? That's something I figured I'd talk to you guys about since we're doing this.
Let him play.
What's your guys' opinion?
I
on
mean,
that?
we can let it play
Let
for
it
this
play.
league for this year, but if we want to make a rule change, any rule changes, let's just apply them to next year's league and lock it down that way.
I still don't want to go down that route for sure until we've had our discussion.
Yeah.
Because I still see some moves that can be made this year that I think will still be intriguing and interesting for next year. We don't have to do it, but I still like the idea. But anyway, so are we all cool with just letting Call of Duty Black Ops 6 go?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Cool. All right, cool. And then how do you guys feel about the ruling next year when somebody tries to get a Call of Duty?
I honestly don't know. I guess I don't see this the issue.
I thought
with
that
it.
we were letting like
You said this is
one.
related.
You're allowed one, and we all.
Oh
agreed.
yeah, the yearly installment. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Henry just said isn't the same for FC25. I think that's another one of my games.
Yeah, so that's the
Football
yearly
Club
installment.
25. That's his yearly installment game.
Yeah. So we all had one slot for yearly
okay, I got
installment.
you.
Is it like can you
Yeah.
pick a second one? I really don't know. What do you guys think? I'm not.
Yeah, how do you guys feel
I
about
don't
it?
really have an opinion.
Because right now we have a precedent
Or
set where if
against.
somebody
Yeah.
wanted to pick Call of Duty next year, they can.
Yeah.
If we allow this.
I'm
if
thinking
it's a different Black Ops,
No, so we have one slot for yearly installment, and you fill that with FC Sports 25 or whatever. Technically, Black Ops 6 is a yearly installment, and you don't have another slot for yearly installment. It got put into your regular games. So is it okay for us to then? So if that's the case, then we don't need the one slot for yearly installment. You just take that out and you let people pick whatever.
I do not want yearly installments allowed. I'm just saying this is a special situation for Call of Duty. Because next year we're going to get a Call of Duty : your mom.
Yeah.
Does that count? Or is that going to be – because technically there's never been a Call of Duty your mom before.
Yeah.
But there is a Call of Duty every year. You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
Call of
yes.
Duty specifically.
So Henry brings up a question. Does Assassin's Creed fit into that?
I think so.
Yeah.
What was the Assassin's Creed that came out last year?
I don't fucking know.
Was there one?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think there was.
There wasn't.
No?
It's a yearly installment. So, no, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually,
I
no,
guess,
Mirage.
I guess not. I guess you can
Mirage
just
came out last year?
Mirage came out last year.
Okay. Was there one the year before? Because if there is, I will literally drop Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed
wasn't
right
it
now.
wasn't it the what's it called? The Vikings one?
If that was the year before, I'll drop it.
one.
No, I think that was 2021. I'm checking it right now.
Yeah, see if there was Assassin's Creed 2022. Because I remember the reason why I ended up picking this up during the draft.
It's Mirage in 2023.
Rudy texted me. Rudy had sent me a text message during the draft saying, "Am I allowed to pick up this game?" And then I told Rudy on the podcast. I didn't say what the game was, but I said yes, I'll allow it. Rudy decided not to pick it up, so later on in the year, I picked it up.
Okay,
So-
that was Assassin's
so
Creed.
I was
goes-
originally going to let it play, but
Yeah. So it was Origins was 17, Odyssey 18. Then it skipped to 2020 with Valhalla, and then 2023 with Mirage.
so it's not a yearly installment series.
No.
It used to be, not anymore.
Yeah, it used to be.
Okay, so
So,
Assassin's Creed.
so would that be the same for WWE wrestling or 2K wrestling that I picked up?
JDB is a yearly installment. I know that they skipped 1 year.
Mhm.
They skipped 2021, but they did do every year up for that point. Then 2022 they did, and then 2023 they did, and they're going to do 2024. 2021 didn't release because of all the bugs that came into 2020. So that's why that one's a yearly installment. That's why I know this one. Walter, you picked it up, and I was like, yeah, it's fine. You can pick that up. But that's your yearly installment game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I guess it's a no for Black Ops for Call of Duty moving forward.
I'm cool with leaving it this year, but I think next year, if it's a Call of Duty game, if
Yeah,
we
that's
have
what
a
I'm
yearly
saying, moving
installment
forward,
rule,
yeah.
I think it would be okay. Is the yearly installment game.
Mm-hmm.
We all go with that?
I agree.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm fine with that.
So we're keeping.
You're
You can keep
keeping
this
your
year.
Just
game.
one.
Yeah.
Just one. Oh, no, but for next year, we're just keeping one yearly installment.
Maybe.
Or we're just
It depends
taking
if I
them off
want
the
to.
board?
I surprise you guys with the yearly installment this year. Maybe I'll allow it
Gotcha.
next year. Maybe I'll
Oh,
have
I
something
see.
replace it next year.
It's a little twist.
All right, Jesus.
Okay. GM Dan.
Fantasy Jesus.
Yeah. So Disco, like I said, if you try to pick a Call of Duty next year, I take your pinky.
Right, these commandments, man.
It's gonna be a new Call of Duty.
So okay, so I wrote down. So I wrote down yearly installments, if applicable, only one game.
Perfect.
That's great.
Okay.
Dude, can you title this for me, Eslam?
What?
So
The
even if
commandments?
it's like
Yeah,
not
it says
Black
new
Ops and some other.
No, yeah, I wanted to
as
say
long as it's Call of Duty,
LWG
it's just-
FEGL as if they were Roman numerals and then put commandments after it. So instead of the 10 commandments, it's this, whatever number this is, the commandments. So just put commandments after that. Perfect. Thank you, sir.
All right. Did I spell that right?
No, you didn't.
That's it's Eslam. I knew what I was asking for when I had
Commandments.
Is it 2 M's?
It's the LWG FEGL condiments, everybody.
Fuck it, I'm leaving it.
All right, autocorrect.
Not up here in the titles. Not in the title.
Oh, this league. This league.
Yeah, you missed the number.
All right. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I can get it later.
Nah,
I can
bro,
get it
you
to the
guys
same
gonna
time.
Yeah,
talk
fuck
shit.
him. He didn't say my name. I got a nickname.
What is it
What's your
again?
nickname, Rudy?
Oh no,
Which
they call
one?
me lots of different things. Call me Mr.
Exactly.
Grumbles and shit.
Really
Oh,
rude.
sir, I tell you every single time, we never gave you respect. Take Mr. off of that. It's just Grumbles. We never called you Mr. Grumbles.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
no,
Grumbles.
it's just grumbles.
He tries to put a little respect on there. Get that out of here.
And rethink if you want to join this shit. Just saying.
He's gonna quit the league halfway this year.
I mean, he did it before.
mean-
like,
All right. Next rule. So I think this one we had already kind of agreed to it on the chat, but instead of having a random draft order, we do worst to best. So whoever is last place this season gets first pick next season, and whoever wins the league this year has last pick next year.
I'm coming back strong
yeah.
next year. Watch
so that's
out.
the thing.
y'all. This
I
is a
get
throwaway
lucky.
season. It's warm up.
I get
Yeah.
lucky, and I'm first pick almost all the time. That's not fair.
Real.
So
Well,
I
no,
like the
it was
word
2 years
real
in a
lucky.
row. The year before you, I had first pick. You
Yeah,
had
and I
like
was
you were in the
last.
middle.
No,
No.
I had middle or last at one point.
You were middle because that's the year that nobody for some
Yeah.
reason. I mean, understandably me, I didn't know, but nobody picked up
Yeah,
that
Elden Ring
Souls
went to
game.
like the
yeah.
fourth pick.
Yeah, and then Dan
I
picked
was
it up
sitting
as
here
his
like, you
first
guys
pick.
are
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah. So that was the year you were in the middle, and then I had first pick, and I think I picked up Jedi Survivor. I think. Yeah, something like
But
that.
yeah, this is one of
Solid
those.
title.
This is one of those rules where I feel like if it should be implemented, it should be implemented now.
So
That way you
yes.
follow this season's thing.
Yeah.
Unless you
So
want to wait
I
a
guess
whole
it
year
just
to do it.
it goes into the order you placed. It's just reversed for the pick. So if you're
Exactly.
second, you're second to last. If you're third, you're in the middle. If you're second to last,
Exactly.
you're second, so on and so forth.
So right
does
now, let's
everybody-
say the league ended today. Disco
Yeah.
gets first pick.
yes.
Yeah, baby. I'll pick proud too. I gave it
So-
not my all.
But how does that work with new people that join though?
Exactly. That was Rudy's
Yeah.
question, and I said we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna talk it out. So what do you
Yeah.
guys want to do?
Death battle.
The first thing I could think of, something as simple as like randomizing them into a certain spot,
Mhm.
put them smack dab in the middle,
Yeah.
flip a coin. Like, what do you guys? Do you guys have anything?
Why don't we just give whoever does the worst first and then randomize the rest of the orders? Because at that point, like it doesn't matter who joins.
Because
The
rule
fir-
number
the-
2.
commandment.
Oh, you're for the. All right. So let's talk about rule number 2.
Sounds like look. I'm reading this shit like a fucking contract. If rule number one,
So rule number 2 states that you can trade your pick next year for a specific game, right, Dan? Or if you want to explain
Yeah.
a little better.
So yeah, Rudy, you like the football. So it's
Yeah.
like that where it's sports. Where if you're doing bad and you think, hey, like for example, I see that Disco is going to have first pick next year. If I could come up with a trade that might benefit where, hey, I could give, what's a good game I have? I don't even know what I have. Let's say I had Elden Ring this year. Hey, Disco, if I give you Elden Ring, let me get your let me get your pick next year, your first pick, your first round pick. That's the trade. That's something where it's something where I feel like moving forward, it could be interesting. It could still, you take the person who's in last place and they actually have more momentum. They could actually play the game.
Yeah.
For example, we implemented the super drop because it's not fun for whoever's stuck in last place. The super drop kind of puts them back into the mix, but we just did it. And you see Disco is still roll the die and whatever number they get is the order they were in. It's not bad actually.
Yeah,
but
really not
that's actually, that makes a lot of sense. But like, let's say Disco, you saw he did the super drop and he's still 30 points behind the whoever's in fourth place.
Yeah.
If we did this rule, that person in last place now has a potential, has a little bit more of an opportunity to move forward and still play the game and not just sit back and just do nothing.
Yeah.
Trading squirrel with a gun. Any takers? I'll trade in my first draft pick next year.
Disco, the only thing you have of value is your pick. I don't think it's games.
Hey, Tekken 8 did pretty decent.
You got Tekken 8. Good job.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why
only good game
one. That's why rule 1 and rule 2 kind of go hand in hand. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. I just don't. Yeah, I don't understand rule 2. Like, I don't know how I would use it, but that's besides the point. I'm just retarded.
You're in first place.
So, yeah.
So the way I would use it,
just
like, pull up your games for me.
My games?
I want to see your games. Let's play this out real
like I could trade Danny's for Final Fantasy for my first round draft pick next year.
Okay,
like, that's a thing.
So yeah, I'm looking at it. Like right now, let's look at your games. Eslam. Okay, so let's pick a game that you have. Like if I was you and I was going to try to utilize this, and I look at Disco, he needs something. I might be giving up. Let's say I'll give up like 9 souls and maybe. Yeah, let's say I'm going to give up 9 souls in SteamWorld Heist. That gets Disco 26 points right off the bat, and you got a guaranteed first round pick for the following year. It benefits you too.
Yeah,
and
I get what you mean.
Win this league, and you get first pick in the next league.
Yeah.
So we do that at the very end.
I mean, like so if we implement these rules today, we can start.
We can start doing them.
You can start.
What exactly is your question, Walter? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm just saying. Will that transfer, or that trade, have to happen at the very end of the league, or can it happen at any point?
If we allow it, it could start today, and then the trade we can basically we just put it in the chat, have it documented. Luckily, unlike Disco and Eslam, I have a good memory.
No, and, I'm asking for next year, not the end of this year. So if next year, let's say someone's in last in like October. Can they initiate that then, or will it be at the very end of the league when we close up shop?
I understand they can initiate it. Maybe I don't understand your question.
So I guess it's like once all the games are out, like you propose a trade, let's say gets accepted, but the trade doesn't happen until all the games are out. Like all the scores are like when we close up the league.
Is that
the trades take place and then all the points are done? Is that what you mean, Walter, or did I misunderstand?
No, that's exactly what I meant. So
the way I would look at it. Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, you got it.
I was going to say if that's what you mean, then yeah, I would say let's say this trade were to happen between Disco and Eslam, that changes in the league, and I see that name under the game under Disco's thing from now on, like that moment. Okay. So basically, you would the trade would take place. You guys would put it in there. Yeah, you guys would put it in there. You tell me, and I go in there and I move the game.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yep.
So what happens if hypothetically, like it's probably definitely not going to happen, but hypothetically, I trade my draft pick, being that I'm the last place, but then somehow hypothetically I get to like 3rd or 2nd place, and I sold him my last place draft pick. Like, what does he get there then?
He gets the pick that you gave him.
That draft pick, even if it's really not.
If you are guaranteed first round pick, something happens and you win the league, and you're going to pick last the next year, that person gets your pick regardless of where you are.
But it's not technically guaranteed until it's.
So they're going to end. So they're. I shouldn't have said guaranteed, but you're assuming it's a guaranteed thing. But hey, Disco pulls a miracle and pushes forward.
No,
You ain't got that.
That's the hypothetical that I'm saying. Like, what if
Exactly.
I trade my last place draft pick, and then what if I through trades and I have the most money, and
then
stuff
that
like
person,
I come
then
back.
you would have been
Do
last, and then that person gets last.
I think that goes back to my initial question too of if, like, I think what Dan's trying to say is if the person's in last at that moment and they decide to initiate that rule, right? And then by some stroke of luck, they become fourth instead of, let's say, fifth. Then how do you go about that? Because the last person already traded it. And if he didn't secure last place, then...
So then your pick just becomes second instead of first.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you get second draft pick instead of first draft pick.
Okay.
Basically, you're not getting the first place spot. You're getting that person's pick. Where that person's pick lands, that's what you get.
Yeah. So it's like a almost like a double-edged sword. Yeah, you're taking it. You're taking a chance.
Okay.
Yeah, in sports.
I just wanted to clear that up, just hypothetical.
Yeah.
Not that I am, but just
that's how it works. I know in the NBA, they have similar stuff like this, but you have a protected, let's say, first three pick, where if it's within the first three or not the first three, the trade doesn't go through. Rudy, does that happen in the football?
Say that one more time.
Are there protected draft picks in football?
Protected.
I know there is in the NBA.
Protected draft picks. That probably not. I don't think so. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Okay, no. I thought you were a football fan. It's okay.
Maybe it's under a different verbiage, like protected draft picks. I'm sorry.
Joe.
Apparently I know the NBA better than you know the football, so it's okay.
All right. So are we good to implement Rule 1 and Rule 2?
Yeah.
Does everybody agree? Can I get a yes?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, man.
Okay,
I like it.
Yes. So good. So those two rules have been implemented.
My goal is to make this specific league the most complicated league in all of Fantasy Critic. That is my goal.
All right. Rule 3.
Real quick, when do you want those to start?
Yeah. Okay. When do you guys? Well, I think I think all this should start next league.
So
Even
that
the
means
trades.
come January we have a random pick order.
No. Oh. Okay. No.
See what I'm saying?
Okay. So Rule 1.
then-
Rule 1. Here's my opinion. Rule 1
we
implemented for this league. So, whoever lands the way we land this league, does the draft order for next year's league, and then next year's league is when Rule 2 gets activated.
We cool with that?
That's fine with me.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we're implementing 1 this season, and then
Yes.
1 and 2 next season.
Yes. And then for rule number 3 is everybody gets a game drop as long as it's not counterpicked, even if the game scores.
Oh, that's interesting.
So just so you guys know, the Fantasy Critic, this is actually allowed. You're allowed to drop games, a certain amount of games. You guys don't play the regular base rules of Fantasy Critic. You guys play the rules that I came up with in Fantasy Critic. So I kind of picked some things, I changed some things. So yeah, you're able to drop games. I just don't allow you guys to do so.
Yeah, which I think is more fun. Like it's
exactly,
to me, is more
everything
fun.
I do is to make it
you
more.
really gotta plan out the
more
games
challenging.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the game. Well, one thing you guys have easier than other people do is you guys could drop a game at any point you want, as long as it hasn't been released. In the actual Fantasy Critic, you're only allowed to do that like 4 times. So that's even more difficult. But I was like, let's make it more fun. I'll let you guys.
Can I also? So let's talk about this rule first and see if everyone agrees to it. So allowing the drop of 1 release game as long as it's not counterpicked. And then this doesn't affect the super drop rule. So you can, so if you are also in last place, you get to drop 1 game that has been released and you get your super drop.
If you are under the super drop specifications. Yes.
So let's say this rule was active for this year. Disco would be able to drop Animal Well like he just did, and then drop a squirrel with a gun as well.
I don't think he would have. I have to check the super drop rule, because the super drop rule is you have to be a certain percentage lower than the projected scores first person's thing. So the moment he drops one, then then that bumps him up in score.
So I would drop like, so you would have to use it strategically, right? You would drop Squirrel with a Gun because that's only 5 points instead of 19, and then you use your super drop to drop the 19 points.
Strategy comes into play.
Exactly. So does everybody agree with this allowing one game drop release for the league?
What does it mean
Sure,
by per
but for next
publisher
year.
though? I think that's the only thing I have. Is
You
per
are
publisher.
you are a publisher.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So we each
like
get
the
one
studio
drop.
we made.
Each person has one drop, and then whoever's has the lowest score percentage wise to the others gets a super drop as well.
Question on that though. So if I drop a game that I've spent money on, do I get my money back?
Hell no. What's wrong?
I'm just saying, because
What kind of dumbass question is that?
No, because in reality, like, so then it wouldn't make any sense. Like, for example, if you have no money, it wouldn't make any sense to drop a game, even if it's in the negative. I mean, I guess to bring you to zero at that point, because you get what I'm saying? Because there's no benefit to pick something else up.
Rudy,
Yeah,
if you buy stock at a certain price and the stock value goes down, do you get the same amount back that you?
No, I get what you're saying.
No, but let's use your scenario. Let's say Disco has no more money, and he's 5 points away from like second place. He can use that drop to drop Squirrel with a Gun, get those 5 points back that he lost, jump up to second place, and then now he has, keep his points. And
I got you.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So
let's say that Rudy, how do you feel about your money thing? Do you guys like that, where you get your money back?
Nah. Bad choice is a bad choice.
No, I don't like it either. Okay. Just hey, I'm giving everybody their shot. If you guys agree to it, even though I don't like it, we'll still move forward. But,
all right. So rule number 3 implemented.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, next year.
Disco. Yes, next year.
I'm gonna say yes. I think it's an interesting little.
Honestly, this was one where I was like, I don't know if I actually like it. To be honest, I don't really like this rule. Even though
I do.
I came up with it.
See, but here's the other thing. It gives a chance for people like me or Disco who make a decision like that to help us keep playing.
Give me a chance to recover from bad.
If somebody picks up a game because Walker Texas Rangers in it.
Yeah. All right.
These rules are coming late. That's what I'm saying. These rules are coming a little late.
I want to throw a rule in based on rule number 3.
Like. Yep.
Having the ability to buy a game drop. To pay money to drop a game. And how much do you guys think that should be? It has to be the same price.
Interesting
for everybody.
A lot of money right now.
If that's allowed, it's got to be a lot.
I was thinking like $20.
I said a lot. That's long.
I think it would be. I think if that's the case, it would be the equivalent to whatever the negative factor is on the game at that point. So like if a game is negative 19, then you have to pay 19 to get it off of your shit. If it's negative
if you did
5,
a counter drop. I'm not talking about counter picks. I'm talking about like Disco has Squirrel with a Gun.
No, he's talking. I'm mistaken. He's talking about your negative score. If
I'm literally talking about the negative score.
Is a negative, 6 points. You would pay negative. You would pay $6.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because at that point,
not enough. Yeah.
Well, it becomes enough depending on what you're trying to pick up in the outside. So you'd have to lose 6. Let's say like Zelda Echoes of Whispers came or whatever, right? You're like, oh shit, I really want that, but I got to drop something to open up a spot. So you have to pay the 6 in order to drop that spot. Then you have to pay again to pick that game up.
Sure. Here's the thing. What if your game's at 70 and you just want to drop it? You pay no money.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. It needs to be a set amount, no matter what the score is for it. So let's say I wanted to drop Skim or Shim or whatever the fuck it's called. It's how much would I have to pay? Like it can't be like $50. Like,
I think like 30 is fine, considering
legitimately
that only 2 of us would be able to afford it right now. 30 is like
I was legitimately considering minimum 50.
Nah, that's crazy, bro. That's too much. We only have $100.
This is a super drop. Only very specific specifications are you allowed to super drop.
Well, it's not a super drop because you can't drop a counter pick with it.
It's just a regular.
Okay, it's a regular drop, which doesn't exist as of right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things where it's just like to bring something into existence, it should cost a lot.
I'm proposing 20. I think 20 is a lot of. That's 1/5 of your whole budget, and you still got to fill up 16 games with that. So.
I think 20 is not bad. The reason I say 20 is not bad because you still have to spend money to pick up something else. Like
exactly.
It all depends. Like unless your strategy is strictly to to drop a game to bring yourself back to that positive zero balance and save yourself some points, that's fine. But playing the percentages wise, is that going to be enough to put you above other people? Is that going to be enough to win you the league? Exactly. I think ideally you're going to drop a game, yes, to bring you up, but you're going to do it to pick up something.
And the reason why also I think this would be interesting, because it's like then everybody has to be like very careful with how they spend their money on gaming. Yeah. So not having to make people, you know, spend $35 to pick up a game because someone always likes to bet $30 on games. You know what I mean? But that within itself is also a strategy. You're making people spend a lot of money. So there's a lot of strategy behind the money usage. And we don't necessarily have to implement it next year. I'm just putting it out there to maybe let's see how this goes, and then maybe implement it in the year after. So that's my proposal.
I'm on your side, but I think it should. I think it should be 30. I think 30 is substantial enough.
I'll meet you halfway and say 25. 1/4 of your budget. Like, you know what I mean? But like, I think 1/5 is good enough because you still got 60 games to fucking. Oh, I mean 8 games to pick up and bet on. You know,
30 and you can only do it once.
I say 20 and you can only do it once, or 25.
Are you already saying only do it once? Sir?
Well, how many, like, if you have to do it more than once, like, you're not gonna have any money to pick up any other games. You get what I mean? Like, it's like let's table this conversation because this might take a little longer, and I know some of you have to go. So we're gonna table this rule for next year's league when we talk about it for 2026 for the 2020
year of our Lord.
Yeah, year of our Lord 2026. Is there any other rules that anybody want to bring up for the league?
Well, I'm gonna go back to the chat because I remember that there was when I introduced this stuff to you guys in the chat, you guys had brought up some stuff that
the one that I had said was if your game wins game of the year.
Yes, that was one. Yep.
Mm.
So my mentality.
This is something I've thought about. I've thought about this in the past.
Yeah, I mean, like,
wouldn't that game already score high? You're gonna get even more points on top if it's game.
And that's why I never implemented that. Exactly why.
I mean, I was either thinking game of the year, or I was thinking literally that we focus on what the categories are that the Game Awards does, maybe the top 5 categories, and then each of those categories, like, I don't know, you don't have to be a lot, like 5 points for every winner. So, like, for a fighting, for example, fighting game of the year, it could arguably be Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. It could be any of those games. And they're all going to do hopefully decently if they're good enough games. But then if your game is the one that wins the award, let's say you get an extra 5 points as a result of it winning. So it doesn't have to be game of the year then if that's the case, if you're worried about it.
So I get where you're coming from because, like I said, this is something I've considered in the past. My reasoning for not doing it, like I said, like Disco mentioned, it's automatically going to get a good score because even whether it's best game of the year or best blank of the year, it's already going to get a good score. Now you're just going to get a better score on top of it. And on top of that, if you are going to say something like best fighting game, it gives people more incentive to focus on a specific game. Because when was the last time there was a best RTS game? So at that point, why would you bother getting an RTS? You get what I'm saying? So you would start thinking, I'm not going to pick up this game because it's not going to have a category, a game of the year.
That's what I'm saying. But that's why you pick specific categories, though, because arguably.
Also, I just want to bring up one point. I feel this rule definitely benefits Dan, Rudy, and Walter more than Dan and I. So I'm just gonna say no to that.
That's a very
it wouldn't. In my opinion, it wouldn't be a benefit, or like we would strictly say which category, right? So if it's like best shooter, best fighting, best thing. I mean, so you're saying based on you just don't know what the shooters and the fighting games are?
I don't know the good ones.
They don't know games.
I don't know what the good ones are to pick.
I think I'm gonna pass on that rule.
I don't like the rule. Personally, I don't like the rule. And on top of that, the Game Awards comes down to different people voting. Mostly it's people within the games industry. All of our other things are not by voting. It's by strategy and points. That's it. It's not necessarily voting. Granted, it's people writing reviews and giving their reviews and opinions, but it's not necessarily voting. I like this game more than this game.
These rules that we are implementing aren't affecting the points for the game specifically. It's affecting how you.
They're affecting our league
games. Yes,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's still affecting our league.
Yes,
at the end of the day. So that's why I've thought about it, and I've in the end, I've decided I didn't like it. If that's something you guys want, we can do it. I'm against it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
majority is against.
I'll pass on that one too.
Yeah, that's a nay.
This is like 4 passes. Sorry,
Okay.
Rudy.
I see where Rudy's coming from, though. I get where he's
No,
coming
I
from.
think it was a good idea. It's a good
It kind of
idea.
sounds fun if maybe like there's like top game of the year, top fighter game, top shooter. But like at the end of the year, we do like a roulette on which one will get the extra points instead of specifically game of the year. Like, because then I don't know. Like Rudy said, we're going to be shooting for certain games. I don't know.
Unless
Like,
I mean, at that point, it sounds like at that point you're doing Mario Party
Yeah,
rules.
Mario Party.
I was about to say it's like he's doing Mario Party rules at that point. I was like, which is crazy. It's like, oh man, and you pick this, so you win whatever. And then I looked at Henry in the chat, just straight up, don't do
it.
We got Mario Party rules before GTA 6. What?
All right. And any other rules?
Let me go back to the chat. Sorry.
I have a question while Dan's looking at that. What's the issue with director's cuts? The only reason I asked that though is because I know the only reason I asked that though is because I wanted to put in for Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, but it's listed as a director's cut. So it's like, is that really a director's cut though? It's a collection at that point. And it's an up-res collection at that point where they're doing online capabilities with it.
Yeah, so basically it's not a remake. What's the other one?
Director's cut.
No, what's the other one?
Reimagining.
It's a
remaster.
It's a remaster. Remasters are not allowed.
Edition.
Is that what it was like? Because when I tried to do it, it said it was the director's cut specific.
Well, think about it. What exactly is what is a director's cut and what is a remaster? At the end of the day, they're pretty much like a remaster is like, hey, let's take the same game we already made. Let's make it look a little bit better. Here you go. A remake or reimagining is like, hey, well, reimagining is like Final Fantasy VII. You remake it from the ground up. It's a completely different thing. They added stuff. Remake. The problem is over the years, these things have become so blurry. It makes it more difficult. A remake is more than a you just said it. What was it? A remaster.
Director's cut?
A remaster.
No, it's never director's cut.
Isn't that movies? How did that even come up?
The PlayStation started calling their remasters director's cuts a few years ago.
It's all good. Just wanted to get a clarification.
Have like more of the original film that they had to like cut, or I don't know.
So
that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah, these games don't do that. Literally, it's a remake. It's not a remake. It's a remaster. But they're just calling it a director's cut.
So they're just recoining that term.
Yeah.
All right,
exactly.
So I scrolled through the chat after Dan put the rules up. It was mostly a conversation about how to implement them and when to implement them, which is what we just had. I didn't see any other rules, really. So let me just add TBD, buying a game drop, and then we shall put that to rest. So those rules have been implemented. Rule 1, 2, and 3 have been implemented. Rule 1 will go into effect this year. So depending on the standings, that's the draft pick for next year. Next year, depending on the standings, you can start making trades for picks for the following year. And also you'll be able to drop one game plus whoever gets the super drop. So,
Eslam, do me a favor. Hover over that flag on Silent Hill 2 remake. I want to see what that says.
What happens if you don't pick your second counter pick? What happens?
You lose points.
It says this game is really more than a remake.
Okay,
it's a reimagining. Okay.
Go down. If you don't mind going down, there's I just want to see if there's any other things I should notice. I should pay attention to.
No, not
Silent
really.
Hill, everything's good. What's that?
Yeah. These are because they don't have pages.
Oh Jesus! Walter, this is you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're picking games that nobody knows, man. You got to stop doing that.
Sometimes they hit, brother.
Yeah.
I know that's the thing. They hit well, but it's like what kills me, and I'm mad because this was my strategy like year one, and it worked. And Walter implements it better than I ever did. He's picking games that are get reviewed by like 2 people, and because the percentage wise it's 2 people, it gets really high up.
Yeah,
it's like he's not fooling anyone. I know. I used
that
to
happened last year. One title.
All right.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Balatro up this year. That's all I'm saying.
Henry said River City Girls.
River City Girls last year too. It got me points, like I always said it was going to.
Okay, so rules have been implemented, so we're coming to the conclusion of the conversation for the league. There's one more thing I just wanted to bring up. Obviously, we've been able to yay or nay anything. I know Dan was upset about this when I brought it up last time.
I completely am against this, and my vote should count as more than one vote in this scenario.
That's fine. There's still 4 other votes, so even if it's your 2 votes.
All right, mine counts as 5.
No, fuck that. All right, so I'm proposing trophies, and not because I might win this year. I'm really not. That's not why.
I say my piece, sir. Wait till I say my piece, sir. You continue.
Yeah, I don't remember your piece, but that's normal. So I'm proposing 3 trophies. Obviously a winner, a loser, and like a participation trophy. So we can say yay or nay to having trophies, to obviously not having trophies at all, or pick which trophies to have, whether it's a winner or loser or all 3. The way they would work, right, is that I would buy all of them, divide the total by the 5 of us. They're fairly cheap. They're, I think, like $20 each or whatever. And then whoever wins, I would send them that trophy, right? So if you win, I mail you your trophy. If you lose, I mail you your trophy. You hold on to it for the year. After the following year, when the new standing comes, you mail it to the next person in their standings. Is everybody with me so far? Not everybody speak at once.
No, I'm hearing what you're saying. I want to hear what Dan's gripe is first.
So Dan, why don't you say your gripe first before I show the trophies, so
Absolutely.
I don't have to waste time showing.
A long time ago, there was a league called the LWGFVGL season 1, and there was
Rudy.
Let
me know if you remember this, because you were on season 1.
Rudy's memory is just as good as yours. He has to ask you what time the podcast is every single time, when it hasn't changed in the past 6 years.
Every year, I'm trying to win Rookie of the Year.
Season 1 of the LWGFVGL, I came up with this thing. I brought it to the people. I said, "Hey, this is gonna be a really fun thing. It's gonna hit," and it took off like wildfire, and everybody in the universe is talking about it.
We've lost people.
And I said it would be cool if we had trophies. If the winner would get a trophy and of some kind, of some award, something, and we should do that. And then Eslam said no. Okay, fine, whatever. Year 2, I brought it up again. I think it's really cool, and I won year 1.
I swear to God, I'm not even. I do not remember this.
And then we go to year 2, where Rudy stopped. Well, Rudy stopped playing year 1. Let's be honest. But we do year 2, and then I was just like, "Hey, we could still do this." And then he said no. He said the only way we will get a trophy is if the person who wins it 3 years in a row. I won year 1. I won year 2. Year 3, we brought in Walter, who used my own strategy against me and wins the league. So I didn't win 3 in a row. It got reset. And now Walter maybe or maybe he's not going to win it this year. But now somebody should have to win it 3 years in a row, because that was established before the season ever started.
Okay, so
I don't remember
this. Hold on. This is my suggestion, right? This is what we do in my fantasy league. So we have a trophy that has
for the football.
For the football has several areas for plaques, right? So when we bought a trophy, it came with these plaques. Now each year a new plaque gets added onto the trophy. My suggestion would be we get a trophy that has multiple plaques. We just backdate the plaques, and then we go forward at that point, because that's the way that I would do it. So we have Dan would have
Henry,
1, have 2, and then Walter would have 3.
Farms remembers. So Henry is what. Obviously, I'm sure what Dan's saying is true. I'm just I have Alzheimer's, and I'm retarded.
I like the idea.
Sometimes.
I like the idea of the plaques though, because you put a new plaque on it, and then whoever the winner is, you send them the trophy. Yeah, and then that's the way it works every year.
Rudy, I had agreed that whoever wins 3 years in a row gets it. Never has that been done. a trophy was not going to be implemented.
I probably said that
until
because I was like, Dan's
somebody
just
won
gonna
that
win 3
Never
years in a
gonna
row.
happen.
We can finally get a trophy, and then Walter ruined that. Thanks, Walter.
Then
No
guess
problem.
what, guys? If you won a trophy, everybody lose and let Walter win this year and next.
There's like so much anger here.
Yeah, I know he's so upset. I like
All right.
Rudy's idea. We can find a trophy. When I
I
looked
want to
for
see
the
what
trophies-
trophy you got.
Yeah.
For the trophies, I just tried to find the funniest ones. So, okay. All right. So this is one of the winner trophies. They just look funny. So this is winner trophy number 1. This is winner trophy number 2. Yeah, just looks cool. This is winner trophy number 3. This is loser trophy number 1.
I'd rather take the loser trophy. It looks cool.
You got the ha ha ha's.
Honestly, that loser trophy looks better than the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah. You got this loser trophy.
Dance a toilet.
Yeah. And then my favorite loser trophy, the Sacco.
Oh man.
Sacco. I knew the Sacco was going to be there.
Yes. I love the Sacco. I would definitely put obviously my name on the Sacco for 3 years or whatever, but yeah, and then there's this one, the participation trophy.
What is
Horse
the
shit.
participation trophy? Who gets that? How do you decide who gets that?
For the person who doesn't play all year, so like either Rudy or Dan this year. But yeah, this one obviously, yeah. So those are my suggestions. Obviously, we can find other ones or whatever. But let me know if you guys want to implement the loser trophies or
100% against every trophy until somebody wins 3 years in a row. That's my
all right. Okay, Walter, what do you think?
I'm gonna pass. Come back to me.
Okay, Disco, what do you think about? It doesn't have to be those trophies. Those are just the funny ones I found. We can do the plaque thing, like Rudy said, for both the winner and loser trophies, for first place and last place, and backdate them and do all that stuff, and move forward with that. What do you think, Disco?
I like the idea, but are we really gonna be like shipping them around and stuff? Are we gonna stay true?
I mean, it
to
only happens once a year. You only ship them once a year. It's not like it's gonna be happening multiple times a year. If you just don't lose the fucking trophy, you know, it's not that hard. Just put it somewhere on the fucking shelf until it's time to send it out again, or you keep it again. I don't know. Whoever wins or loses, but
I guess so.
I mean that it's not a strong yay, but all right.
It's not strong.
Rudy,
I like the idea. I don't know.
is it too much work? Is like if we're not feeling it, let's just. So I don't want this to continue for too long. I know some.
I got nothing against trophies as long as you win 3 years in a row.
Okay, I mean we can implement that rule too. It's just nobody will ever get a trophy. So
That's hey, it is what it is.
that's
never said
that's
it.
fine with me.
Never said it.
I feel
This
like
is-
we're all busy.
Just send Dan 2 trophies, man. It'll be done with.
Yeah.
No, I want to win 3 years in a row.
This is not a hill that I really want to die on and keep trying to convince you guys. So we'll just say no because nobody's really gun ho for it. So we'll
sense.
All right.
we'll say no.
I'll implement the 3 year thing. If you win 3 years in a row, do you want a trophy for it?
How about
That's-
2 years?
I don't
How
care.
about 2 years?
Then I should have had a trophy already.
No,
3
let's
years in a
keep
row.
Dan. Let's keep the 3
Let's
years.
send his
If
ass a
somebody
trophy.
gets
Send his
But
fucking
that's
ass a
the
trophy.
thing.
Who
Like,
else votes for the 3 year rule? Who else votes for it? I got
Listen,
this.
I second.
That's two.
Dan's rule.
That's 2.
I don't. I say nay.
I say 2 trophies. I mean, I say 2 years to give that man a trophy, so you can just shut the fuck
I
up.
will refuse them. I will refuse them.
I think the same thing, man.
You
2
have to win
years.
3 years in a row. I got 2. That's so far. That's more votes than you got, Eslam.
He's gonna
Yeah,
decline it in the mail. Send back
I
to
don't
sender.
care. Yeah. All right. Fuck trophies. No more trophies in this league.
I want a
forever.
championship belt after I win 3 years in a row. I want a wrestling championship belt.
I'm actually down for that.
24/7.
Made out of pure
I'm actually
gold.
down for that.
Henry wants the thumbs up.
Okay, that was funny. All right. So let
Should have
me.
never did what you did, Eslam.
Well,
You caused this. You caused this. That we could have had trophies years ago, but no, you got to win 3 in a row. You did. This.
why? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why do you take these things that I say seriously when you know I'm not going to remember it a week later?
Because I took it as a challenge and thought I was going to win 3 years in a row, and then I invited Walter.
Then you should be mad at Walter. Then why are you mad at me for?
Because you brought it up. You should have just let me get my trophy.
I reopened the wound.
Yeah,
All right.
your words have consequences.
I love that your cat's right there.
Yeah, I know.
She's saying it's time to wrap up.
Real quick, how do you guys feel about the trades? Is that something we should change? Are you guys okay with it? Because at the way it stands right now, nobody's ever going to be able to pull off a trade.
What do you mean?
In order for a trade to go through, it has to be accepted by another person. Like, let's say Eslam and Disco, we're going to make trades. And then if, like, I vote against it or whatever, it doesn't go through. That's the way it's set up now.
I think it should be just if the two people accept the trade, it should just go through. I don't think everybody.
Does everybody feel this way? The reason why it's set up that way is to make sure that you don't have something. Let's say a scenario where Disco's like, "Listen, I'm going to lose anyway," especially with the new rules that are coming into play with the whole picks. That's like a guaranteed. Like, oh well, I know I'm going to get first pick, so let me just ensure that, and I'm going to give away a game to somebody else. You see what I'm saying?
To help somebody else win.
But that guarantees somebody else gets the win, but you get a guaranteed first pick the following year.
Yeah,
it's okay. I'll Gandalf it, and some next season I'll come back all white. Like,
I don't know.
Trades has always been an issue in this league. Nobody's ever pulled off a successful trade because of it.
Very true.
I think
we're all like crabs in a bucket. We don't want the other crab to make it to the top. We're just gonna keep dragging.
If the two parties agree, there shouldn't be any other. I guess publisher coming in, so that's fine.
I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna be doing that anyways. Like, hey, I'm gonna make sure I lose, and here's my game. Because
if I see something, okay, let's do it. If I see something egregious, or if let's say I do it, you guys know I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
What's it called? Then you guys point it out, and then we discuss it, and then it happens.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
There.
But otherwise, I think it should just be between.
So if two people are down with the trade, it's up to those.
Can we do side bets? What kind of side bets you trying to do, Henry?
Yeah, actually, I've seen this happen in another league. I just want to reinstate: real life money does not affect this league in any way.
Yeah.
Point that out because I've seen somebody win a league somewhere else because they literally paid $50 US American dollars for somebody's game and they won the league. I will not allow that in this league.
Jesus, what? You see what Henry said, bro? That's some wild shit. What are you doing? Parlays? Goddamn.
This man's talking about Pete Rose, basically. That's a baseball reference. I know you guys don't really follow baseball, but Rudy doesn't even follow sports. So I mean, yeah, you guys.
But I gotta head out. So if we want to wrap up, or
let's wrap up. Final thoughts on the leagues, and then I just want to make a comment for my final thoughts, and then we'll end it. But final thoughts on the league.
Yeah, I can't wait to say he was
does stand for friends.
I didn't hear a word Dan said either.
He said F stands for friends.
No, Eslam, it's good to see you in first right now. You're looking real competitive, man.
I hope it stays that way. We'll see. I mean, a lot of your games are coming out. A lot of Dan's games are coming out. They're probably going to hit. So, I mean, it's not that I'm only 20 points ahead of you guys. So, let's see how my game's doing. Your game's doing. It's starting to look shaky. Oh, actually, I do want to bring up one more thing. Early access. That's something we wanted to discuss and we never did.
That is something that's actually probably more important than anything else that we should have.
Yeah. So with the early access, like the thing I think we discussed, if you have an early access games, it gets reviews and it gets points, you should be able to get those points. So
we should be able to do it. Yeah.
So
but
the
now
example
the thing
is
Eslam, I remember you said in the league that it says that you could do that, but I was never able to find out how.
Yeah,
like I can make
yeah,
sure.
I did see that
That's
rule in the league. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like an example, I had Hades 2 and I dropped it because I knew I wasn't gonna get points for it, but because it was going into early access. But if if we had this rule and I kept it, it would have said 20 points, but I wouldn't have actually like received them until the game actually releases. With our current rules, with the new rule, I would say is like, let's say you had Hades 2, it gets 90, you get those 20 points, and if Dan has to enter them in manually, then he enters them in manually. But if you pick up an early, because it seems like more and more games are just going into early access instead of just releasing. So, and then the part 2 to that, will we be able to pick up Hades 2 next year since it's still in early access?
I think that's the problem.
I would say no, because the game at this point, the term early access no longer applies, and the game is released. You cannot pick up a game after it's been released.
So if it has the points,
exactly it's
gone. But if it doesn't have points, then you can still pick it up.
It's up for grabs.
Okay, I agree with that rule. I give it a yay.
What's called real quick? Henry says, does a beta count as early access? No, beta is just unless. Well, actually, you guys, Rudy, Walter, you guys know probably early access stuff better than I do. Beta is technically not an early access, right? Like it's a different form before you get early access.
No, normally it's not. Normally it's just like the finishing stages before they do an early access release.
Exactly. Okay, so yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm yay for this rule to be implemented in 2025. Who else is yay?
I don't like it, but we have to. The way gaming is going, we have to implement it. I don't like the fact that early access is even a thing, to be honest.
So, Hades 2 is released, correct, in early access.
Yeah.
So picking it next year, like
you can't pick it next year because it has points already.
Okay, so when do we stop the cutoff for the points? Since it's early access, technically,
when it's scored, I'm assuming.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, when the score comes out, you can't get it.
Okay.
You have to get it before the score comes out.
So my only question to that is every game that's in early access, does that get a score?
Not every game gets a score. That's a risk you're gonna have to take. I mean, just like Walter's games, he has 2 games that haven't been scored.
His games are released and they don't have a score. Exactly.
It's been a month.
Yeah. So that happens too with regular games that are not in early access. So
I hear what you're saying.
That's 3 votes right there, whether or not you two.
Okay. Sounds good. That rule has also been implemented. All right, let's do final thoughts so we can jump off. I know you guys got to go. Sorry about that. Let's start off with Rudy. Final thoughts.
No, I mean, it's my best year yet. Rookie of the year coming up. I should get a trophy. I'm just saying, we're giving out trophies. I'll take rookie of the year every year. I'll just pass around my own medal. You know what? Trophies? I'll take medals. You want medals? Send me a virtual gift card. I mean,
like 3 years in a row, and you'll get one. Who's next?
Walter.
So this year for me, the league has been a lot different. Everyone seems a lot more competitive than they were last year.
Not me. I legit have not paid attention. I've not, like last year I was in it. This year, whatever. If I win, I win. I don't care.
All right, so everyone's in it except Dan.
Yeah,
but it's been fun so far. Better than last year for sure.
100%. I mean, last year was still.
I liked last year a lot more
because there was a lot of games coming out. You had a lot of choices, and it was just like. But this year was a little bit more difficult because there was less games that will hit. But that's what made it more competitive. So I think next year we might get a little bit of more games coming out.
Next year will be a lot of games.
Yeah. All right, Disco.
I might not play next year, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, this is my worst year to date. I took a year off and I came back just incredibly terrible. I thought I was going to be more involved with life and crap got in the way. And I keep forgetting them Saturday deadlines. I'll be on all week telling myself I'm going to do this. And then Friday hits. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And the next thing you know, Saturdays.
You can just set them when you see them. And then they'll go through on Saturday once. You don't have to
put
wait
in whatever
Saturday
to
put them. Yeah,
I just be lazy though. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, and then I don't do it. The procrastination hit me hard. you know, but it's still fun to be involved. It's still fun to kind of compete, even though I know I'm in last place. It's you know, I want to pull a miracle somehow, or at least get to 100.
Yeah. Dan, what's up?
Win 3 years in a row.
All right, my final thoughts. Love the league, but my final thoughts are not about the league. My final thoughts are about Linkin Park. They are back. They have a new lead vocalist and they have a new drummer. They released a new single, new album coming out November 15th, I think. And then they're starting a new world tour. No, I've been a
Listen, he's fucking selling albums out the back of his car.
I have been a diehard.
That's not for the tour list.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Linkin Park was my gateway band into rock music. Okay. I have a deep love for Linkin Park and their music. It was my entire adolescence into like teenage years, and that's how I got into rock. I discovered a lot more rock music when I became more friends with disco. I got a lot more into 80s rock music when I got closer with Dan. So my music evolved when I met both of you, but like it all started with Linkin Park, so they have like a special place in my heart. And I was, obviously devastated when Chester passed away. I never got to see them live with Chester, so that has been a regret of mine. I would have loved to see them live. But it's been 7 years, and they decided to move on, and I'm happy for them. The new music sounds great to me. I love it. The new single sounds great. Shout out to Emily Armstrong, which is the new vocalist for Linkin Park. She sounds great. And I'm super fucking excited for this new album, man. I can't fucking wait.
2029. That's what I'm opening up for Linkin Park, guys.
It's nice. It's nice because she has really good chops. She can really do that scream and really like embody like a Chester sound. Yeah. But also, I liked her because she gives that nice, like, feminine sound too to their tracks, which I personally like, and so it kind of gives like a little more versatility to them. So I'm really looking forward to their new album too.
Yeah. So shout outs to Linkin Park. Thank you for coming back. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening to Los Wise Guys podcast. If you like what you hear, follow us on social media. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review. Go check out our YouTube channel. Henry, thank you for joining us on the chat. Loved having you on.
Still got the invite for next year, Henry.
Yes, always have an open invite to join the league whenever you want. Just let us know so we can add you. Thank you for listening. Have a great week.